Good afternoon, Lisa.
Good afternoon, Andrew.
Hello, how are
Hello.
you?
I'm alright, thank you.
It's a sunny day,
It is.
which is nice.
So we've been inside watching television.
Yes. Thank you to the person that requested that we do this. This is our first request.
Yes.
So many thanks to Random for asking if we do Steptoe and Son, Divided We Stand.
Yes. And the DVD's over there.
But you've got the script.
Here is the page of the script.
Well, we've got the whole of the script
Here's
from
the script.
the best of Steptoe and Son scripts.
And that's Divided We Stand. And that's the picture of them.
For what is quite a simple episode,
Yes.
turns out we've got quite a lot to talk about. So
Yes.
this was actually a very good choice, I think, because there's lots of incidental detail here that we've never really gone into. We did briefly talk about this episode on our tribute to Alan Simpson
Yes.
around the archives many issues ago. But with the loss of Ray Galton, I think this is a good one to come back to, because I think we found out more about it since there.
Yes,
And by doing my sort of notes in order thing, there's a lot more detail that we can go into.
Yeah.
But we open with Albert and Harold talking about decorating, don't
well,
they?
Harold's got wallpaper books. I don't think
Sample books.
Sample books. I don't know if you even get those these
Big,
days.
thick books. Each page is
Which
like
is a piece of wallpaper.
a square of wallpaper, so you see what it looks like.
And you can hold it up
Nowadays, you
against the
just look
wall.
at it online.
Yeah.
But in those days, you had to cart great big wallpaper books about. I have to ask, wallpapering in the 70s.
Yes.
Do you remember 70s wallpaper?
Well, see, every photograph I have that was taken at the house that I grew up in has got different wallpaper in the background.
Yeah.
So
Your parents did a lot of wallpapering.
My dad liked to change the wallpaper quite a lot by the looks of it. And particularly in the 80s ones, you've got all sorts of different patterns. I think we might even have flock wallpaper at one point, which is mentioned.
Well, we'll
in
talk
this.
about flock in a minute.
But yeah, it's really nice. You look at the pictures and go, oh, that one's got. I mean, at one point, it just had wallpaper that was painted, and it was like a burnt orange colour.
Yeah.
So, which was quite nice.
But I remember wallpapering in the 70s, and the bit I liked best was not putting it up. It was getting the old wallpaper
taking it
off.
down, because you could pull it, and you just try and pull it for one long strip, wouldn't you?
Well,
see how long you can pull it before it rips.
Well, that either worked if it had been on there a long time, so it wasn't very sticky, or you had to like wash it down with water.
Yeah, soapy water.
And get a scraper.
Oh yeah, I like
the old scrapers.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a
scraping.
triangular scraper and then a wider scraper. And I used to, because I was little, I could only reach up so high as well. I
So
couldn't.
you'd only get that to the bottom third.
Yeah.
Did you put your height on the wall as well?
How tall you were?
How tall you were,
No.
and then paper over it.
No.
People do that.
Did
don't
you
they?
do that?
No, I don't know. Well, a lot of people do. They mark how tall you are, and then they cover it over with wallpaper, so nobody ever sees it until they take the wallpaper down to do the next lot.
Okay. But they've been 3 weeks looking at these books, haven't they? And apparently, the rooms were last decorated after the war.
Yes.
In 1918.
Yes, the First World War.
And apparently, Harold's mother put them up as well. But they're trying to decide what colours and styles to do, and of course they don't agree.
No.
And Albert wants sort of chocolate and dark green, which don't show the dirt. Now, that's reminded me of something else. When you had your new school books at the start of a year, did you have to cover them in wallpaper?
Yes.
Why did you have to do that?
I don't know. I think the first year we covered it in wallpaper. The next year, because as I've mentioned in previous videos, we didn't have double glazing, so you'd get condensation. So my dad he rigged a frame that you could put on the window to stop the condensation getting on the wall. And he had some of the plastic left over, so he covered my exercise books with this plastic, which was really thick.
Okay.
So, but yes, the first year I went, I can actually see the wallpaper. I think it was white and brown.
Yeah.
Wallpaper on my my
But
school
was it because the school books were so like delicate that they'd fall apart after a year if you didn't reinforce them with wallpaper? I don't know. But yeah, they're sort of discussing their colour schemes, and the stuff that Harold comes up with, Albert describes as being like a Peruvian brothel.
Yes.
Doesn't he?
Mm.
But he's got a copy of Homes and Gardens, and there's a picture of Blenheim Palace, isn't there?
Which is the childhood. I don't know if it's his home, but I think Winston Churchill was born there.
Yeah, it's the
It was his
Churchill
family's
family and the
home.
Dukes of Marlborough, and according to Wikipedia, Blenheim Palace is the only non-royal, non-episcopal country house in England to hold the title of palace.
What are you talking about?
It's the only non-royal, non-episcopal...
Episcopal.
Pardon?
Episcopal.
Well, if you want to go, but... yeah, they're talking
It means
about...
it's the only non-bishop's palace, doesn't it?
Right, thank you.
Yeah,
That was laboured.
it was.
Yeah, £9 a roll, apparently.
£9 a roll. That's a lot of money in 1972.
Yeah. But they've got a load of army camouflage paint that they might as well use up. But they've ended up with 7 blocks of samples
Books.
of this. Yeah, 7 books of samples.
Not blocks.
So Albert says just bung all the bits up, which I think is not actually a bad idea.
There are probably people that did do that.
It would make a nice mosaic effect, if nothing else. I'm not
But that means...
totally opposed to that.
Yeah, I don't quite get how that works, because did you have to pay for the books?
No, they were free samples.
So if you didn't take them back, what happened?
I don't know. I mean, they're fairly big, aren't
Yeah,
they? I
so
don't know.
I don't know how many books actually got took back to the shop.
Yeah, but he doesn't mind it looking rotten so long as it's free, says Albert. But he does like the hairy wallpaper,
Yes,
as he describes it.
the flock wallpaper.
Did you ever have hairy
I
wallpaper?
think we might have had hairy wallpaper at one point.
Where?
In the living room.
Not
I
in the
think.
bog.
Not in the bog, no. In the living room.
In the Kazi. But as Howard said, whatever's in there needs to be washable.
Yes.
Because it keeps on getting covered in graffiti, which is positively Pompeian. And it's done by the customers, isn't it? But yeah, they reach their usual impasse, which is the name of another Galton and Simpson script.
Yes.
But I was just looking around the room at this point, because sort of Howard starts to explore all the crap that's in the room.
Yes.
And what I said about on the Addams Family.
Yeah, they got a fish.
There's a fish's head on the wall, but with no leg in it, thankfully, and the bear. So yes, it is a bit like sort of the Addams house. Runs his finger over the sort of sideboard, which has got all the drinks on, and he says that's not dust, that's topsoil. There's a teacup, which is stuck to the saucer, isn't it?
And got coffee in it.
It's got coffee dregs, which has got more hairs on than the flock wallpaper.
See, there's a mug at work in one of the ladies' locker room, which nobody's got rid of, which had coffee in it, and it's there is something growing in it. Somebody eventually is going to throw it away, but nobody wants to touch it at the moment. I look every so often to see how the mould's doing, and it's growing nicely. It might be a new antibiotic.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember my boss in one of my old chemistry labs said when he was at university, they had a water bath. And a water bath was used for heating things up to a certain temperature. You'd put the flask or whatever in and sort of dial up like 37 or 60 or whatever. But the thing about water baths, because they heated up, they could have stuff growing in them. And he said that they had a sort of growth of something in it that got bigger and bigger over the weeks and months because nobody ever dared clean it out because it was horrible. And it got to the point where they actually gave it a name, the growth, and they called it Spongy Norman.
Okay.
After Spiny Norman, the giant hedgehog in Monty Python. Somebody made them chuck it out eventually, though. No. But yes. In fact, there's scientists for you. Howard starts going through all the bits of old newspapers and things, and they find one about Chamberlain and Hitler, and Fort Belvedere, I'm giving up the throne for the woman I love, and Princess Margaret joins the Brownies, all of that. Mussolini invades and King Zog flees or something.
Mussolini invades Albania, King Zog flees.
And the line is about king-size fleas that we've got. But I did like the gramophone they've got.
Yeah, it's got a really big, one of those really old-fashioned ones.
That looks really worth some money, doesn't it? I mean, there is the joke that there's a load of rubbish in the house, but that gramophone, I'd like that. I don't know what happened to that. Ration books, gas masks, dried egg, and then the bit that's the final straw, isn't it? The teeth.
The teeth.
No, explain about the teeth.
He finds it's a money box.
It's a strong box of money, isn't it?
It's a strong box, and he opens it up, and there's some false teeth in it, and Albert says, "Oh, I wondered where they went. They flew out when the landmine landed
in 1941."
1941. But how did they get in the strong box?
I've written that down.
How did they get in the strong box and the lid shut?
If they flew out, they'd have gone on the floor.
Yes. Yeah,
if this is true, they flew out of his mouth, landed in the strong box, the lid was closed, and then, well, I don't think it was locked, was it?
No.
But even so, I find that extremely unlikely. But yeah.
Oh, I hate false teeth anyway. They it gives me the creeps for some reason.
But he takes out his old ones and puts in the new ones, and they don't fit.
No, because his gums have shrunk.
So they're like flapping up and down in his mouth. And for Harold, this is the last straw, isn't it? That he cannot live with him anymore. So he says, one of us will have to go. And Albert says, I'll be glad to be rid of you. I notice in the background there's an ARP helmet as well. It's a nice little Dad's Army thing. But Harold partitions the room by putting a load of boards up through the middle, doesn't he? It's a bit weird because... obviously, this is shot in, the normal studio arrangement. So you've got the fourth wall, where our viewpoint is presumably where the wall of the room is, isn't it? But because he's got the partition, he puts the last board up, and you can see the edge of the board, can't you? Whereas you shouldn't be able to see that, because that should go up against the wall.
But there's nothing you can do about that.
But that's just the way it's shot. But anyway... Oh, we should say about how this is shot. This is produced by David Croft.
Yes.
When I think John Howard Davies fell ill, didn't he? And proving how close to transmission these ones were done. The transmission for this episode was the 28th of March, 1972. But the recording was the 19th of March.
11 days earlier.
9 days earlier.
9 days earlier, gosh.
Yeah.
28.
So you cannot afford for your producer
to be sick.
No. So,
literally, they looked outside the corridor, seen he's walking past, and go, "He'll do."
David, can you come in and produce it?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Right. What we got? They put the partition up, and Harold says about he can't put it all the way up to the top because there's only one window.
Yeah, and it's on Albert's side.
But
so he's going to put glass up.
On his side, it's extremely bright, isn't it?
Yes.
For what?
Well, somebody's got some sort of electric light in there as well.
Well, there doesn't appear to be. I can't see anything from the ceiling.
Well, you don't get to see the ceiling really, do you?
But I know it's a studio, and I know it's got studio lighting, but I thought it'd been a bit darker than that. But they set up what they call no man's land with a turnstile, isn't it? So it's a turnstile they've got from the old dog track in the ladies' bog, apparently.
Yes. So you have to put a penny in it.
You have to put a penny in, right up on the blackboard that you've
put a penny in,
and that gives you access to the stairs and the kitchen.
Yes.
Yes. So Albert goes sort of walking past, and all you see is the top of his hat.
This is after he
goes in the kitchen or whatever. He walks past, and you just see the top of his hat. And there's somebody in the studio audience that is extremely amused by this, isn't it? And you just hear him saying his hat or his hat, I think it is, isn't it? And he keeps on peering over the edge like Chad, doesn't he? Yeah. From Heidi High. Take that bleeding hat off. Outside, they've arranged the front door into 24 and 24A.
Yes, but you don't see this till the next scene, do you?
No. What was it? Harold's got a little bay tree or something which he's watering, and they've got a bottle of milk each.
I was trying to see it. Is it Silvertop?
I couldn't really say.
I think it is Silvertop.
Harold's got a wonderful gold dressing gown as well, hasn't he? He's very stylish.
Sort of silky and stylish.
Yeah. Albert keeps on putting extra chalk marks up on the board.
And Harold keeps rubbing them off.
And then they've got to use the gas cooker.
Yes.
And of course half the knobs are on the wrong side, aren't they, for whoever you are.
Yeah.
So it's like, top left, bottom right.
Yeah, because they're probably on the opposite side to the side you actually want to.
Yeah, and there's a mixer tap on the string which is divided as well. Now I didn't understand how that really worked practically, because one side's got the cold tap and one side's got the hot tap.
Yes.
So you need both people there to have water that's a mix of the two. Otherwise, you'll just end up with cold water or hot water.
Yes.
So again, not quite sort of worked out, but they have an argument over it.
Yeah.
Then the string gets cut,
Yes.
doesn't it? Yeah. Then we cut to meal time. And they've got a little hatchway between them, haven't they? And there's some arguing over the Georgian cruet set. Now, where's the piece in the script? And again, we sort of quoted this the other day. So yeah, there's an argument over the salt cellar and the pepper pot. So Albert, you can have the salt. His hand comes through the hatchway and puts the salt cellar back. He shuts the panel. Harold, opening panel. That's no good. They're a pair. You can't split up a pair. You ought to know that. Well, you split us up. That's different. You're not Georgian or valuable. Give me my pepper pot. You can have this one. Albert's hand comes through the hatchway with the funniest looking child's pepper pot it is possible to find. Now, was it the funniest child's pepper pot it was possible to find or not?
Yeah. It's a cat.
It's a tall wooden one, which is in the shape of a cat with, I think it's got whiskers, isn't it? And we've already said before we wouldn't mind that.
No, we quite like that.
Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah.
Didn't mind that, but yeah, then they want to watch the telly, and this took me a little bit of research, but I found it. You can just see Harold's got a copy of the Radio Times.
Yes.
And on it says, I found Captain Scott.
Right,
you can just read that. And according to this site here, that's the Radio Times cover for the 19th to the 24th of March 1972, which ties in with the recording date of the 19th of March. So in other words, that Radio Times would have been available a couple of days beforehand.
Yes.
So they've been able to use that one. Now this will come in interesting in a minute. So they have an argument. Harold wants to watch the ballet, doesn't he? Was it?
With Margot Fontana.
And Nureyev, because
Yes.
Albert can't say it. Excuse me. On BBC Two, and they're doing Les Sylphides. Dirty devils. Was it Harold? Her drawers have just dropped off. Now, this is a Wednesday, isn't it? Because they agreed that Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays Harold would have it. Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays it would be Albert's, and they'd have alternate Sundays. Now, BBC Two, in the Wednesday of that week that's covered by that Radio Times, will be Wednesday the 22nd of March, and BBC Two would have had Man Alive at 8:10, excuse me, Look Stranger at 9, and Vintage Hollywood Bathing Beauty with Esther Williams, Red Skelton and Basil Rathbone at 9:20.
Okay.
News and the budget.
Oh,
So
okay.
there'd have been no ballet that night. Obviously, they've had to make it up.
Oh, yes.
BBC One apparently has football, which it didn't. It did have some sport, I think. Let's have a look.
And some sport.
So BBC One, Spy Trap, Star Trek, The Galileo 7, Softly Softly Task Force, The Easy Job, 9 o'clock news, budget, and Sports Night with Coleman. European Championship Cup and Cup Winners, Cup Rangers, whatever that means. UEFA Cup, Tottenham Hotspur. So there is actually some
football
on that night. But in the end, they sort of have an argument, and it's what is it? I've got the law of contract on my side, and that killer line, but I've got the knobs on my side.
Yes, which is wrong, isn't it? Because the knobs on the television in those days were on the right hand side.
So Harold should have had the knobs.
Yes.
You reckon? Okay, that's a good point. So it's a left-handed television set.
You didn't get all the knobs were always on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Kids, you don't know what knobs are, but it's like
Kids, you don't know what knobs are.
You had to actually switch the switch, and it would take a few seconds to warm up, wouldn't it? And then to turn it over, you had to get up and go over and press a button.
Yeah. But they pull the TV back and forth, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And because of the way it's shot,
Yes.
the TV has got like ventilation holes in the back, isn't it? And you can, the camera's behind it, and you can see through to the front, and you just see the set when they move it back, because there's no actual gubbins
inside
the TV.
Mama.
Was it Albert was wanting to watch Blood of the Ripper on ITV? But yes, eventually, so Albert ends up with the TV set all on his side, but Harold's got the plug,
and he unplugs
so he just unplugs it and sort of does a little close down announcement into the thing. Albert then wants to go to the toilet. Hello, Martha. And we cut to our only bit of film, don't we? Hey, Martha. So Albert goes and sits on the toilet, and Harold pulls the chain.
Yes.
And then they have their like late night drink, don't they? They're sort of hot.
Well, he has a hot.
Hey,
when did they do that? Because he spent ages arguing over the television, eating their meal.
Yeah.
At no point does anybody go out and put some milk on the hob.
But yeah.
Anyway.
But there's a tea towel over the cooker which catches light.
Yes.
Then we get some stock footage of the fire brigade, and they're both in hospital. And I love the detail that even the fire brigade had to put pennies in the turnstiles to get into the house. And Harold pours his orange juice over Albert.
Yes.
And then the credits start to run as there's some nurses and the doctor comes in.
Yes.
The doctor apparently is Keith Ashley, whose Doctor Who credits include a Zygon and the insides of the Crinoid and Sir Colin's aid in the Seeds of Doom.
Okay.
I mean, apparently he goes all the way back to the Savages.
Right.
So, and he's also a Dalek operator in Genesis of the Dalek.
Okay.
But I really like Divided We Stand. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's not the one we picked to cover in the Alan Simpson tribute, because we went for the I can't remember what it's called now, the family funeral one.
Oh, What a Beautiful Morning.
Yes, because I kind of like that, because they sort of, for once, they're in agreement at the end, and they're both on the same side, and they sort of win.
Yeah.
So
But I think this is, in terms of their sort of conflict, this is a very nice one about pointing out how silly it is.
It is, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Because they do take it to extremes,
yes.
And they don't think about the practicalities of it. So yeah, for it is just basically the two of them until the very last scene. So
and because none of the people at the end speak, they don't get credit, do they?
So yeah, in terms of what people call like bottle episodes, isn't it? It's just the one set or so, and the two actors. I think it really shows off their skill. Yeah. Because this is, they've been doing this for a long time now, so they've really got their characters and their interplay down really well. Hello, Martha. Try not to stand on the computer if you could. So yeah, I think that was a great one.
Like Martha's tale.
Great one to do.
Yes.
And thank you for the suggestion. I think.
Thank you. If anybody else has got any suggestions, put them in the comments.
Okay. Well, we can't guarantee to do everything, because we might not have everything, but.
Put it in the comments or tweet us on Twitter.
Tweet us on Twitter. Well, you can only tweet us on Twitter. You can't tweet us on Facebook.
Yes. All right. Well, they would probably most people would be on Facebook, would they?
We shall see. All right. Well, thank you for that, and hope you enjoyed that.
There's a book again.
There it is. Bye-bye.
Bye.